You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
O'Reilly. This is Derek's O'Reilly Auto Parts story.
After the third time jump-starting my car, I finally realized my battery was dying. So I stopped by O'Reilly to have it checked. They tested it right there in the parking lot. It was bad, real bad. But they helped me find the right battery for my car and even installed it for free. Now my car starts like new.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans, America's largest mortgage lender. Spring will be here soon, so if buying a new home is on your to-do list, right now is the time to call Quicken Loans. Learn about which mortgage options make sense for you and get a jump on your competition. With our exclusive Rate Shield approval, the low rate you lock today is protected for up to 90 days while you shop for your new home. With a Rate Shield approval, if rates go up, your low rate stays locked. But if rates go down, you get that new, even lower rate. Either way, you win. Talk to us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com to take advantage. Here's another great reason to work with us. For a record 9 years in a row, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. Again, to lock in today's low mortgage interest rate and get the security of our exclusive Rate Shield approval, call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
For JD Power award information, visit jdpower.com. Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year fixed-rate loans. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. License in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
Hi, welcome to this Subway ad for the new Sesame Ginger Glazed Chicken Signature Wrap. How would you like it?
I'll take a...
Sports announcer at home?
Yeah, how'd you...
We just know.
My wife picks up the new Signature Wrap. It's got double the rotisserie-style chicken mixed with a sesame ginger glaze. She appears annoyed at me, but she shrugs it off. Those sweet and savory flavors are calling her name. She lifts the wrap and... she takes the bite! Incredible! And now she's closing the door on my... Subway, make it what you want.
Limited time only at participating restaurants. Double meat based on average 6-inch sub.
Today, this breakfast isn't just breakfast. It might be the first McDonald's breakfast you're having at McDonald's again. This lunch might be a weekly tradition you hadn't had in weeks. And this dinner might be the first one you bought for not just you in a while. Whatever this order is for you, McDonald's will be here to take it.
Get more of the chicken you love with a delicious McChicken sandwich for $1. And for an extra buck, add a refreshing Dr. Pepper. Dining rooms are starting to reopen in certain communities at participating McDonald's. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
The following program contains coarse language and adult themes. Listener discretion is advised.
Am I the only one here tonight? Shaking my head and thinking something ain't right. Is it just me? Am I losing my mind? Am I standing on the edge of the end of time? Am I the only one? Tell me I'm not. Who thinks of taking all the good we got and turning it bad? Hell, I'll be damned. I think I'm turning into my old man. Am I the only one willing to bleed or take a bullet for being free? Screaming what the fuck at my TV for telling me, yeah, you're telling me that I'm the only one willing to fight for my love of the red and white and the blue. Burning on the ground, another statue coming down in a town near you. Watching the threads of old glory come undone. Am I the only one not brainwashed? Making my way through the land of the lost, who still gives a shit and worries about his kids as they try to undo all the things he did. Am I the only one who can't take no more screaming? If you don't like it, there's a fucking door. This ain't the freedom we've been fighting for. It was something more. Yeah, it was something more. Am I the only one willing to fight for my love of the red and white and the blue? Burning on the ground, another statue coming down in a town near you. Watching the threads of old glory come undone. Not the only one. I can't be the only one. Am I the only one who quit singing along every time they play a Springsteen song? Am I the only one sitting here, still holding on, holding back my tears for the ones who paid with the lives they gave? God bless the USA. I'm not the only one willing to fight for my love of the red and white and the blue. Burning on the ground, another statue coming down in a town near you. Watching the threads of old glory come undone. I'm not the only one. I can't be the only one.
And welcome into the Wednesday edition of the Rick Robinson Show, otherwise known as Chat Lives Matter Day here on KLR Radio. This would normally be where I would play something cute and funny. Sorry, forgot I had something on a loop there. This would be normally when I would play something cute and funny, but I'm not in that mood. So normally this is when you would hear the, oh my god, it's Wednesday, my dude. Yeah, we'll play that later. Not in the mood for that today because I hate to tell you, I hate to continuously tell you, but the America that you and I thought we grew up in, the America that we were taught to cherish, love, and protect, died. It actually died a long time ago, but we never got the memo. But a judge in Illinois basically put the nail in America's coffin, probably the final nail in America's coffin, because she just extended Second Amendment rights to illegal aliens. Now, I understand the Founding Fathers' premise that rights were granted by God and not able to be given or taken away by the government, but at the same time, I'm pretty sure what they actually meant was these rights were granted to us and that our government had a right to protect them for, or a need to protect them for us and to not be able to take them away. Now, unlike everyone else, I really don't have a huge issue with an illegal alien being given Second Amendment rights, except for one problem. That means that they're entitled to every other constitutional right, which also means that they by default have a right to vote, because that's outlined in the Constitution. So, and I'm gonna come across like a dick right now, and I apologize for anybody that takes it this way. But I've been saying for a long time that illegal aliens should not have Fifth Amendment protection. But Rick, the law says, but no person, blah, 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 I don't care. This was the inch that we gave the bleeding heart liberal leftists, who are neither bleeding heart or liberal, but are straight communists. And they ran with it until they made it a 20-mile wide hole. Which is why now an Illinois judge claims that an illegal immigrant has Second Amendment protection. Now, the scariest thing about an illegal immigrant having Second Amendment protection in Illinois is Illinois has some of the strictest, craziest hoops to jump through to own guns in the country, next to probably New York City. And I don't understand how an illegal alien who shouldn't be able to pass a background check has Second Amendment protections based on how our laws are currently written. Now, again, I don't necessarily have an issue with that right being extended to them because I am a Second Amendment absolutist. My issue with it is once we start extending them that right through the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, then they have access to every other Bill of Rights, which is why I kept telling everybody for years that Fifth Amendment protections being extended to illegal aliens was the gateway that the left was going to be able to use to destroy our country, because there is a squishy, liberal, legal interpretation out there that the Fifth Amendment doesn't just apply to American citizens, it applies to every person within our borders. I disagree. I have always disagreed, and I have vocally disagreed, because they may have those same rights as you and I do, because God gave them to them, but our government doesn't have a responsibility to recognize those rights because they are not our citizens. They have a right to have the laws of their home country recognized, no more, no less. Where they came from is the only jurisdiction they should be held accountable to. So my point has always been, they already broke the law to get into the country. If they've broken another law, they don't deserve a trial. They deserve to basically be, look, at this point you have been charged with this crime. You already broke a law to get here, so we are sending you home. That's it. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. But we can't do that because the people in this country, by all definitions, want to be loved and accepted and have warm, squishy feelings. And this is why we are being destroyed from the inside out. We talked about this yesterday, about the communist memorandum that came out that said if people are being obstructionist to communist ideas, start labeling them in ways that will make them feel uncomfortable, that will start turning public opinion against them, start using words like Nazi and anti-Semite and racist and anything that you can think of that makes them feel uncomfortable. Because public opinion will start to turn on them the longer that you say these things. So I need to explain something to you guys. And I'm not going to be a popular person today. I don't care. Here's my problem with all of this. Every single bit of it can be explained this way. There has been a theory in this country for a long time called the Great Replacement Theory. When that theory was announced, the left, the communists, and everybody that wants to destroy this country and the rest of Western civilization, we need to understand this isn't just about us. This is about the death of Western civilization. There are people that are openly calling for death of the West because we are colonizers. If I can find that soundbite, I'll play it for you later. But back to what we're talking about right now. This is my issue. The problem is, they started making everybody who was like, wait, why are you bringing all these people in here? Why are you bringing them in here illegally? What are you trying to accomplish? Why do I feel like I'm being replaced? Oh, you're just racist. You don't like brown people. You don't like yellow people. You don't like whatever color people they're trying to bring in at the time. When in reality, we're just like, hey, wait, no. We have laws for a reason. These laws are supposed to be followed. What the squishy, open heart, squishy, just warm, fuzzy liberals don't want you to think about, because they want you hiding in your warm fuzzies and how good you can feel because you're being good to people that want to kill you. And I had somebody point this out to me last night on X, Twitter, Jitter, whatever we're calling it these days, that I can't be a Christian because Jesus said to love your neighbor, and that I can't be a Christian because the Bible says to treat those who are strangers among you as you would treat your neighbors. It's not an exact quote, but it's fairly close. My problem with that is that didn't take into account people that were coming into the country illegally, because there was no concept like that before. What it was referencing was people that were here, that were there, or people that were there as slaves. That's specifically what it was referencing, is treat the people who don't necessarily want to be here just like you would want yourself to be treated. The problem with that is when you start treating the people who want to kill you and have made no bones about the fact that they want to kill you in the same way that you treat people who are your citizenry, then all you're doing is amplifying the fact that you don't seem to care that these people want to kill you. Case in point, and I'm not going to play the audio because there is none. It's basically somebody speaking, I believe it was Spanish, who put out a TikTok video telling illegal aliens about all the cities that have these squishy liberal housing laws, where basically once you've put up an article of clothing in a house, even if it doesn't belong to you, you have to go through an entire, sometimes years-long eviction process to be removed. There's a woman from one of these squishy liberal towns who's been trying to get rid of a squatter for years, and because she finally gave up and because she was slowly going bankrupt because she couldn't rent that house to anyone, and probably several others, I haven't really looked into it very much, apparently committed suicide. So this is the world that we live in today. The left is elevating illegal aliens above you in every way, shape, and form possible. And the scariest thing is, even the people of color who are either citizens in this country or came here legally and follow the process are starting to figure it out. Now here's the even scarier part. Some of the people that have come here illegally are like, hey, can we shut the borders now? Y'all are letting too many people in. I heard that yesterday and I couldn't believe it. It was like illegal alien speaking to a news reporter said, yeah, no mas, I'm voting for Trump. We need to shut the borders. And he's like, but didn't you come here illegally? Yes, but no more. No mas. Like, wait, what? I can't with these people. And the scariest thing about all of this is because we have this innate desire in America to be loved and respected. We are willing to let ourselves be destroyed, all in the sake of, or for that sake, of that warm, fuzzy feeling. And it's terrifying to me that we live in a time now where we can't even stand up for our own defense without being shouted down. Our federal government has a responsibility to secure our border for national security reasons because we already know that there are people that want to destroy us. Joe Biden is actively committing treason and no one is calling him out for it. They want to tell you that Donald Trump is a traitor to America, that Donald Trump wants to be a dictator, but it's Joe Biden who is acting unilaterally to destroy this country. Nobody listens. Nobody cares. Rick, you're being hyperbolic. Rick, you're saying things that scare me. Rick, can't we just talk about the fun stuff? Can't we all just laugh and have a good time? You know what? I really wish we could. I really wish this wasn't sitting on my heart as heavily as it has been. And it's part of the reason why I've taken the steps that I've taken. And I don't know if I'm going to succeed or fail. But I have to try. Because we cannot keep living this way. We have given over all of our rights to people who don't deserve them, all for the sake of being internationally loved and respected. And the worst part about it is, the left doesn't even care about that. Do you know what the left cares about? The left cares about destabilizing the first world countries so that they can knock them down a few pegs, and then once they've done that, they're going to destabilize the second world countries, and then when everything completely collapses, they're going to step in and say, well, we tried this thing, but we're going to do something else now. And then if you think you have a dictator now, you think Donald Trump's going to be a dictator. Wait till we have a one-world government, because that's what they want. That's what all of this is about. That's what all of this has been about since the early 1900s. These people have slowly and systematically set about to destroy the bastions of freedom in this world because we were beacons to the world. Do you realize that as of today, America is no longer one of the top 20 happiest countries on the planet? I wonder why that is. I wonder if that's because for at least 2 generations now, we have had people tell us that, you know, being an American doesn't make you exceptional. It means you were lucky. Having white privilege means you're automatically an asshole. I would really like to trade my white privilege card in for an illegal alien privilege card, because then I wouldn't have to work for a living. I can just go squat in a house somewhere, have the government give me free food, have the government hand me free money, and then I can do whatever I want, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And if you don't like it, kiss my ass, because I'm an illegal alien and I have more rights than you do. This is why none of this makes sense. This is why all of this is retarded. Oh, I'm sorry, we're not supposed to say that word anymore. I said it anyway. Retarded. All of this is stupid. And then, because we'll probably come back to this topic later, because I have more on it, but there's so many things that we need to talk about. So, the impeachment hearing for Joe Biden is continuing, and there have been lots of meltdowns about that today. And we're going to get into those when we come back from break. Also, while we're talking about it, there are several other things. This one, because we're just going to go ahead and skip the first break, because again, my monologue ran long. So anyway, let me get this pulled up again. So what if I told you that there's probably a good reason that the Capitol Police went along with the January 6th BS? This is from our friends at the Blaze Media. I'm not even going to read you the headline because it gives it all away, because that would be not cool. But this is by Steve Baker, Dateline Today, over at the Blaze, and it's apparently an exclusive. Policy violations that ordinarily would lead to firings instead resulted in promotions for officers responsible for protecting top congressional leadership. Corruption is endemic at the highest levels of the United States Capitol Police, especially among the special agents and officers who serve in the department's dignitary protection detail. A Blaze Media investigation has found the following. Internal discipline reports show a pattern of officers failing upward. Proven instances of fraud, forgery, theft, perjury, and drunk driving on duty going back to the late 1990s led to promotions rather than dismissals and prosecutions. Discipline reports obtained by Blaze Media show high-ranking USCP officials, including a present-day deputy chief and an assistant chief, were implicated and faced discipline and possible termination in a fraudulent overtime pay scheme that defrauded the government of tens of thousands of dollars. According to documents obtained by Blaze Media and a former Capitol Police Sergeant, a lieutenant involved in the scam left the Capitol Police and now works for the U.S. Senate Sergeant at Arms. Suspensions for felonies. National Journal first reported on the overtime scheme in July of 2014, but did not name the officers involved. The National Journal story relied in part on the account of Rhoda Henderson, a retired USCP sergeant and whistleblower. In an exclusive interview with Blaze Media, Henderson confirmed that the officers involved were current USCP Assistant Chief Sean Gallagher, current Deputy Chief John Erickson, and Wendy Colmore, who is now Director of Central Operations for the U.S. Senate Sergeant at Arms. Gallagher was a captain with the Dignitary Protective Detail and the alleged ringleader at the time of the payroll scheme, while Erickson and Colmore were both lieutenants under Gallagher's command. Henderson told Blaze Media that the scheme lasted for at least a year, and while she wasn't involved in the crime's audit, the 3 officers stole well in excess of $10,000 from the USCP. She also explained that USCP authorities first doubted her story until she was able to produce the paper trail of the scheme. Blaze Media inquired whether there had even ever been a follow-up to this story from any other DC media. Henderson explained that her interview with National Journal reporter Bill House was the only other time she had been contacted by a journalist before now. Henderson reiterated to Blaze Media that her disappointment with the USCP's leadership in how they handled these felonies, crimes for which the 3 officers should have been terminated, was her reason for speaking to National Journal, adding they look out for each other the higher rank you go. She said, "To me, it's always been, I'll cover up your sins if you cover up mine." Henderson said she had initially brought the questionable overtime billing by the 3 supervisors to department officials starting in the summer of 2012. She said that included talking to the Internal Affairs Division, now called the Office of OPR, Office of Professional Responsibility, and the Capitol Police Office of the Inspector General. She also provided the department's officials with all the documentation necessary to support her claims. According to National Journal, Henderson said she began monitoring what appeared to her to be inappropriate time shifting by the supervisors of their overtime hours behind my back on their biweekly pay records in January 2010. As a result of the investigation, the 3 officers were suspended. Documents obtained by Blaze Media show, and a source close to the investigation confirmed, had this been me or any other officer, those not part of the command staff, who would have committed this crime, we would have been fired. There's no doubt in my mind, Henderson told National Journal in 2014. Nor would we have been allowed to sit in our jobs for more than a year without a decision being made. From forgery to assistant chief. In the course of our investigation, Blaze Media obtained 22 pages of USCP documents related to the department's investigation of Gallagher, Erickson, and Colmore. The details are shocking. A USCP memorandum dated July 11, 2013, reveals that when questioned by department investigators, then Captain Gallagher claimed that the scheme was Colmer's idea. However, Gallagher was the supervisor for both Colmer and Erickson, and Gallagher should have been fully aware of the illegality and violations of department rules represented by this scheme. It would have been his responsibility, even if Colmer's idea to stop the conspiracy in its tracks. Instead, he fully engaged in the scheme himself. The documents show, and a source close to the investigation confirmed. From the memorandum, all 3 claim that this was not a conspiracy. What was it then? Ask them what they call it. When 3 people all agree to backfill overtime and not inform their chain of command. In fact, in the biweekly submissions of the overtime pay request, it was Gallagher, as Erickson and Colmer supervisor, who had to sign off on the fraudulent request. Documents show, and a source close to the investigation confirmed. The USCP documents reveal even more damning behavior by Gallagher, who was promoted to inspector immediately after his 3-year disciplinary probation ended in 2016. To keep the backfilling of overtime scheme concealed, investigators discovered that Gallagher forged the name of his supervisor, Inspector Daniel B. Malloy, on his own overtime pay submissions. Investigators noted that Gallagher always used a pen with different colored ink from that of his own signature when forging his supervisors. In a 2012 Office of Professional Responsibility investigation, which also involved allegations of forgery, Gallagher claimed that his forgery of his supervisor's signatures never resulted in personal gain. Are you? Okay. What now? According to USCP standards, lying to OPR is itself a terminable offense. And it should be. The subject line of another USCP memo dated December 18, 2013 read, Penalty Assessment Captain Gallagher OPR number 13-061 from the memorandum and for having defrauded the government of more than $10,000. According to that memo, the offense is egregious and absent any mitigating factors warning nothing less than termination. This offense was willful and frequent, occurring on 8 occasions. Captain Gallagher misrepresented his times, forged his supervisor's signature on overtime authorizations forms, falsified pay certification sheets, and forged his supervisor's signature on pay certification sheets to defraud the government for significant personal gain. The same memo refers to prior OPR investigation of Gallagher in 2012, in which he had been disciplined for forging his supervisor's name on other documents. Yet Gallagher was not fired. Instead, he was supposed to be demoted to lieutenant in order to reimburse the department for all the pay he received as a result of his misconduct. How did Gallagher manage to keep his job? A Capitol Police source close to the investigation, who asked not to be named for fear of retaliation, said Capitol Police Chief Kim Dine intervened in Gallagher's case. Dine, who retired in 2015 after a contentious 3-year tenure, reassigned the disposition of Gallagher's discipline to the very supervisor whose name he had forged, Daniel Malloy. Malloy moved up the ranks quickly following the initial discovery of Gallagher's crimes in 2010. In 2011, Malloy was assigned as inspector for the Uniformed Services Bureau Capital Division. 1 year later, he was promoted to deputy chief and assumed command of the Operational Services Bureau. The anonymous USCP source said to the best of his recollection, Gallagher did not even receive the recommended demotion. He remained on the job as a captain, was given a 10-day suspension without pay, and was immediately promoted to the rank of inspector when his 3-year disciplinary period expired. Gallagher took command of the Dignitary Protection Division in 2018. In October 2023, he was promoted to assistant chief. Now, I need you to understand this. This means that Gallagher, someone who had knowingly committed fraud, and everybody in D.C. circles knew it, was in charge of the folks keeping up with the senators in 2021. Are you getting it yet? Are you understanding how badly everything is broken? Do you understand how deep the corruption in this country runs? Unlike the communists who want to burn it all down, I just want to root out the corruption. I want us to get back to an actual free market capitalist society where people are allowed to chase their dreams, where people are allowed to live their lives without government intervention. This is what we need. We don't need more government intervention. You are seeing what happens when an administrative branch grows out of control. This is why someone who, if you or I had done it, we would be in prison. We would have been fired. We would have been tried. We would have likely been convicted by the looks of this paper trail, and we would probably spend the next 10 to 15 years of our lives in jail if you or I had done this very same thing. And this story just keeps going. We're going to take a break because we have to, because I've already skipped one. But there's more here. This is why we got to wake up. I'm afraid it may be too late if I'm being honest, and I'm saying that while I'm staring at a picture that was given to me from an artist friend of mine who I should be promoting a lot more and probably will start in the near future. I've had it for years, but I never could find a frame to fit it. In my office, I finally have an artist rendering of Rush Limbaugh during his heyday. I'm looking at that right now while I'm trying to explain to you exactly how broken everything is. And maybe that's part of the reason why I'm fighting so hard for all of this. Maybe that's part of the reason because I have sunk everything into this and it's sink or swim time. Maybe that's why. I don't know. But I just want to be able to live my life, man. I just want to be able to pay my bills without having to stress. I want to be able to do my freelance work without having the government come knock on my door. I want to be able to build the companies that I want to be able to build, to be able to help other people do this. I've been asked to help a friend start building a charity. We're trying to work on that, but everything's stalled right now because there's so many things coming down the pipe about LLCs and everything else that I'm afraid to do much more. And that's because we have all of this stuff coming out from the government. Now, we don't have the largest listenership, and I understand that. I'm hoping that changes someday. It may or it may not. But what I will say is that for those of you who like what we do here, we need you. We absolutely need you. The funding, or the founding of the Digital Beacon has stalled because I don't have enough money to do it right now. I'm not saying that, please. No, that's not what this is about. If you want media that will tell you the truth, you have to start funding it. Or you have to found it. I don't really care which one you do. But we have these behemoths that have billions and billions and billions of dollars pouring in. And there's little guys like me that are trying to fight for you to bring out the truth. In whatever that is. And I have told you there are no sacred cows here. Whether it's Digital Beacon, whether it's KLRM Radio, there will never be sacred cows here. Which is why I can honestly look you in the face and look you in the eye and tell you the reasons why I'm voting for Donald Trump. Do I like him? Not really. Do I think he's a dick? Probably. Do I think he's done some very bad things? Most likely. But what has Joe Biden done? And there's actual paper trail for everything that Joe Biden's done. Nobody's talking about it. The country's dying. The country's dying because we let the communists take the wheel, and we missed it. It's time to take the wheel back. All right, we're going out the same way we came in. We'll be right back. This is the Rick Robinson Show, live right here on KLRradio.com. I am your host, Rick Robinson, and we'll be back after these commercial messages. Stay tuned.
Am I the only one here tonight? Shaking my head and thinking something ain't right. Is it just me? Am I losing my mind? Am I standing on the edge of the end of time? Am I the only one?
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
O'Reilly.
This is Derek's O'Reilly Auto Parts story.
After the third time jump-starting my car, I finally realized my battery was dying. So I stopped by O'Reilly to have it checked. They tested it right there in the parking lot. It was bad, real bad. But they helped me find the right battery for my car and even installed it for free. Now my car starts like new.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans, America's largest mortgage lender. Spring will be here soon, so if buying a new home is on your to-do list, right now is the time to call Quicken Loans. Learn about which mortgage options make sense for you and get a jump on your competition. With our exclusive Rate Shield approval, the low rate you lock today is protected for up to 90 days while you shop for your new home. With a Rate Shield approval, if rates go up, your low rate stays locked. But if rates go down, you get that new, even lower rate. Either way, you win. Talk to us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com to take advantage. Here's another great reason to work with us. For a record 9 years in a row, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. Again, to lock in today's low mortgage interest rate and get the security of our exclusive Rate Shield approval, call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
For JD Power award information, visit jdpower.com. Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year fixed-rate loans. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. License in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
Hi, welcome to this Subway ad for the new Sesame Ginger Glazed Chicken Signature Wrap. How would you like it?
I'll take a...
Sports announcer at home?
Yeah, how'd you...
We just know.
My wife picks up the new Signature Wrap. It's got double the rotisserie-style chicken mixed with a sesame ginger glaze. She appears annoyed at me, but she shrugs it off. Those sweet and savory flavors are calling her name. She lifts the wrap and she takes the bite! Incredible! And now she's closing the door on my... Subway, make it what you want.
Limited time only at participating restaurants. Double meat basement, average 6-inch sub.
Today, this breakfast isn't just breakfast. It might be the first McDonald's breakfast you're having at McDonald's again. This lunch might be a weekly tradition you hadn't had in weeks. And this dinner might be the first one you bought for not just you in a while. Whatever this order is for you, McDonald's will be here to take it.
Get more of the chicken you love with a delicious McChicken sandwich for $1. And for an extra buck, add a refreshing Dr. Pepper. Dining rooms are starting to reopen in certain communities at participating McDonald's. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
The following program contains coarse language and adult themes. Listener discretion is advised.
breaking his man. I keep breaking man.
Welcome back into the program. Sorry for the emergency bumper. I went to go make some coffee and realized I had burned through my entire break. Hope we didn't have too much dead air, but here we are. This is what happens when you're your own producer. Anyway, so we're back, we're live, and we've been talking about this corruption scandal. So, again, just a reminder, the guy in command of the folks that were protecting the Capitol in 2021 is a guy that should have been fired. Interesting little development there. Now it gets worse. From fraud to sergeant at arms. According to the USCP documents we obtained, the Internal Affairs investigation found that Lieutenant Wendy Colmer defrauded the government of $6,870 and concluded the offense is egregious and absent any mitigating factors and warrants nothing less than termination. In a disciplinary memo dated December 18, 2013, investigators concluded that Colmore had asked a superior officer about the appropriateness of the overtime backfilling scheme. She was advised that it was against regulations, and yet, with this knowledge, only a few weeks later, she began to take part in the same conspiracy. An internal affairs investigation of Colmer in 2000 resulted in a sustained charge of conduct unbecoming. What now? Yet Colmer was not fired in spite of investigators' conclusion that her offense clearly qualified for termination. In the end, she only received the recommendation of demotion to sergeant. According to another unnamed USCP source familiar with the case, Colmer resigned from the department soon afterward and eventually took a position with the U.S. Senate Sergeant at Arms. Are you seeing it? Are you seeing this yet? Are you understanding? Now, the next one, from drunk driving to deputy chief. The case of Lieutenant John Erickson is far more complex and troubling. By the time of his penalty assessment memorandum, also dated December 18, 2013, Erickson had already been promoted to captain. What makes his eventual ascent to deputy chief as confounding, what makes his eventual, I don't understand this sentence. What makes his eventual ascent to deputy chief is confounding to the extreme. The memorandum stated that Captain Erickson is an outstanding employee, but other department officers refer to him as Teflon John. The source close to the investigations that Erickson has an especially checkered disciplinary record, yet has somehow managed to continue his ascent in rank and recognition. In July 1997, while working on a detail in San Antonio for then House Speaker Newt Gingrich, Erickson was arrested on drunk driving charges. Disparate News reported that Erickson was found in a government-rented convertible parked on a roadside at 3:25 a.m. with his head on his chest, passed out, extremely intoxicated, according to a police report, which also noted his slurred speech, bloodshot eyes, and strong breath, along with the odor of intoxicants. He refused to take a breath test and was released after spending several hours in jail. The story said Erickson was given a warning and suspended without pay for 10 days. In 2002, Erickson was involved in yet another alcohol-related car wreck. The Washington Post reported Erickson crashed his car into a parked Maryland State Police cruiser, injuring the trooper. Erickson was charged with conduct unbecoming an officer and given a last-chance agreement in lieu of termination. He was also suspended without pay for 30 days. Despite the seriousness of his participation in the overtime fraud scheme, and considering his disciplinary history, Erickson received only a recommendation for a 20-day suspension and was ordered to reimburse the government for an undetermined sum. Once again, Dinah Malloy had intervened, according to the anonymous source within the Capitol Police. Jim Consis, a chairman of the Capitol Police Labor Committee's executive board at the time of the overtime fraud investigation, told National Journal, if these allegations are true, this is criminal in nature, not administrative by any means. This conduct should result in termination, nothing less. We can't have supervisors stealing time and or money. This conduct, besides being criminal, impairs the efficiency and reputation of the department, Kansas stated or said in a statement. There is a culture in the department in which supervisors are held to a lower standard even when the conduct is criminal. That is completely unacceptable, he added. Current USCP Labor Committee Chairman Gus, whatever the hell his last name is, because it's one of those Greek ones, told Blaze Media that he fully concurs with the statement from his predecessor in 2014. So, 3 former USCP officers who agreed to speak only on condition of anonymity said Gallagher was also involved in a strange internal scandal. Though scandal may be too strong a word, this became known as what is now referred to today as Traingate. A 4th former USCP captain, Eric Keenan, was the only officer disciplined as a result of an investigation into the practice. He explained to Blaze Media how more than 400 Capitol Police personnel who would receive free rides on the Maryland Area Rail commuter train and Virginia Railway Express with the understanding they would report suspicious activity and offer their services in response to emergencies. Keenan said it was a mutually beneficial program between the 2 railways and law enforcement. By riding the trains for free, the officers enjoyed significant savings in fuel and parking expenses. MARC and VRE even issued laminated rail passes to officers who were willing to engage in basic training on railway security measures and other procedures. Other agencies, including the FBI, Customs and Border Protection, and U.S. Secret Service, also participated. Although the practice was well known, some USCP commanders even encouraged lower-ranking officers to take advantage of the cost savings. It technically ran afoul of department regulations. Keenan, who left the department in 2020 after 24 years and now works for the Department of Homeland Security's Office of Bombing Prevention, said the informal program was going well in late 2018 when an unnamed male officer who did not have a laminated pass flashed his badge to receive a free ride. Flashing a badge to obtain free services of any kind, whether to receive free train rides, lunches, coffee, or donuts, Keenan said is against policy among law enforcement. The practice is called rolling the gold. Actually, most people call it taking it on the arm, but anyway. A mark conductor notified USCP's Capital Division, which then referred the infraction to the Office of Professional Responsibility, and in Keenan's words, set off a firestorm. As the Internal Affairs investigation got underway, Keenan said he emailed the U.S. Capitol Police Labor Committee decrying what he called a witch hunt and using other disparaging language directed at investigating officers. Keenan's email was forwarded by the labor union to then-Chief Matthew R. Verdosa, which led the disciplinary action against Keenan for conduct unbecoming. A USCP officer, he was suspended for 3 days. Keenan said he was only trying to protect the officers under his command who he believed could be hurt unfairly by Verdosa's feigned horror at a faux scandal. So, this is, again, failing upward. Traingate ultimately revealed systemic favoritism and corruption within the USCP leadership. As the investigation found, many of senior leadership's most favored officers had received free rides. 2 names that Keenan mentioned were former Assistant Chief Yoganda Pittman and current Assistant Chief Sean Gallagher. That name sound familiar? USCP leadership did not want to punish their more favored high-ranking officers who had participated in the program. Keenan explained that disciplining the lower-ranking officers and not those of the higher rank would have created a real firestorm, so USCP leadership issued a general letter of reprimand to everyone involved. Something that shouldn't have been a scandal in the first place was quietly swept under the rug, except for Keenan, who raised objections to the witch hunt. Keenan speculated that Traingate received no media attention before now because it was nothing more than a peer-to-peer program between railways and the individual officers. But what seems like a fairly innocuous story reveals something even more telling within the USCP hierarchy, especially if we examine the difference between the career arcs of Keenan and Gallagher. Keenan was frank in his assessment of Sean Gallagher and his career with the USCP. He says that from day one, Gallagher's employment with the Capitol Police, he became the golden boy who could do no wrong, except Gallagher did many wrongs. Multiple forgeries of his supervisor's signature, theft of government funds, fraud and lying to internal affairs investigators about his crimes, all which were terminable offenses according to the USCP policies, all felonies as described by Rhoda Henderson that should have been referred to the Department of Justice for criminal investigation and prosecution. but Gallagher was never fired. Other than a brief interruption, his rise through the ranks continued undeterred. Keenan told Blaze Media that he was now being considered for promotion to inspector in 2016, but the department passed him over in favor of Gallagher. At the time, Keenan's record was unblemished. Traingate hadn't happened yet. Meanwhile, Gallagher's file was thick with felonious scandal. I wonder why they're so keen on putting people that have dirt in the top. Kind of seems weird, don't it? I'm sorry, is that my tinfoil hat radar going off again? Probably. Although promotion from sergeant through captain are vetted through an outside agency, Keenan said the process of rising to inspector through assistant chief is basically a popularity contest, which includes the input of Congress members and the committee they represent. Gallagher was the golden boy who spent years on the dignitary protection detail, which gave him access to high-ranking congressional leadership, which means they also knew of his scandals. What kind of leverage did he have within the department and over individual Congress members who would have helped guide his ascent to assistant chief despite his disciplinary record? Is this a 21st century Praetorian Guard? Probably. After dozens of interviews with current and former USCP personnel, a pattern of corruption and consistent cover-ups began to emerge. The U.S. Capitol Police are the personal security guards of our nation's elected legislators. Special agents assigned to the Dignitary Protection Detail are in close contact with their charges. They know all the indiscretions, large and small, of the members they protect. They know who they're sleeping with, and when they know their preferred but perhaps unstated sexual preferences, they also happen to know their, air quotes, drug of choice. In short, the U.S. Capitol Police know where the bodies are buried and who buried them. This gives them tremendous power. Power even over the outcome of controversial or closely contested legislation. Maybe even power over the ultimate direction of our nation. The Praetorian Guard was a special unit of the Roman army assigned to protect the Emperor of Rome. Over time, the guards developed the power to overthrow the emperors they were supposed to safeguard and even select their successors. Is history repeating itself? When I first started investigating the events of January 6, 2021, I did not know where the trail would lead, but the whiff of corruption was strong. In December 2022, a colleague introduced me to former Capitol Police Lieutenant Tariq Johnson. Johnson had been an invaluable source in helping cast light on not only the heroics of that day, including Johnson's own actions, but also seemingly a deliberate string of failures from the USCP Command Center. Most importantly, Johnson has never lied to me, and yet even though I know Johnson to be a truth teller, I struggle to believe one of his repeated assertions. You don't understand how powerful the Capitol Police are. How could a law enforcement agency that displayed such top-down incompetence on the afternoon of January 6th be so powerful and invoke such fear that even retired officers are reluctant to speak on the record? Because they fear retribution even now. Steve, I've tried to tell you how powerful the Capitol Police are. I believe Tariq Johnson now. So, are you getting it yet? Every institution that we are indoctrinated from birth to believe is here to keep us safe, is here to hold the line, is here to uphold liberty and justice and freedom, has been compromised. Every single one. All of them. The same justice system who told you, trust us when we tell you the 2020 election was not stolen, is telling you not to believe your own eyes and your own ears. You watched in real time as something that had never happened in history before happened with all of us watching. Key city after key city claiming they had some sort of an issue and that counting would resume by morning. And then ballot truck after ballot truck after ballot truck showed up. And in districts where Donald Trump was winning handily, the number of ballots that were received to swing the vote almost down to the exact number kept appearing over and over and over again. The CIA and the FBI have been proven to have conspired to attempt to derail the Trump campaign in 2015 and 2016. We now know that the people charged with keeping the Capitol safe are corrupt from the top down. Now, I'm not saying it extends all the way to rank and file. I don't know. But I know that the people that are currently in charge of keeping the Capitol safe, the two top bosses there, have been embroiled in scandals for over 15 years. And you have to wonder how it is they've managed to hang on to their jobs. Because they know things and they are able to use information. And I think the same can be said for the other way around, because everybody in D.C. has dirt on everybody else. And they use it whenever they need to. And this is what we are up against. This is what we are fighting. This is why I do what I do every day, whether anybody hears me or not. This is why I'm banging a drum on social media. This is why I founded KLRN Radio. This is why I'm trying to found the Digital Beacon. But it gets lonely. I mean, folks, you have to understand, I have probably one of the best teams in internet broadcasting anywhere, and I have built it over time. But there are times when even the folks that I consider family and people that I would literally die to defend have come at me with some of the things that I've said over the last few years, because they don't like the taste that Trump left in their mouth, or they don't like this, or they don't like that. Ladies and gentlemen, I do not care anymore. We are fighting so much corruption everywhere, or trying to, that we have. I mean, look, I get it. And I've said this before. Sun Tzu, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, is a really bad political ideology. But when you are at war, and whether we realize it or not, we are at war. We're at war with the Chinese through their unconventional warfare. Their unrestricted warfare is what they call it. We're at war with communists because the Cold War didn't go away. It became an insurgency, and we're losing. We're at war with the left because they believe that everyone in this country should be a serf. And the reality is they are so much closer than anybody wants to admit to getting us there, because they have fooled us into telling us what the American dream is. The American dream, according to the left, is finding a job, buying a house, buying a car. But why is that the American dream? Think back to what it is you wanted to be when you were a kid. Is that anything like what you're doing right now? Or did you settle? Did society tell you you had to fit a box, fill a role? Because if they did, then you've been lied to, and you've been lying to yourself. There is something that you've been put on this earth to do. Otherwise, none of us would be here. There is something that you are supposed to be doing. And I guarantee you the day-to-day grind that you have put yourself through because society tells you that you have to is probably not it. And like I said, this may all fail. I could be off the air tomorrow, or a week from now, or a year from now. But I'm still going to try. None of us are promised tomorrow. What we are supposed to do, though, is make sure that while we are here, for whatever length of time we are here, that we use our time, talents, and our abilities, which are not quite the same thing, whether anybody wants to believe it or not, to try to make the world a better place. The only way that we're going to be able to make the world a better place is if we face exactly how broken everything is and start doing something to combat it. Who is our best choice to do that right now? Is it Joe Biden? No. Is it Robert F. Kennedy Jr.? I don't think he'll get across the finish line. Otherwise, I'd probably be pulling for him. Even if I don't like some of his policies, I know he wants to change the government. Which is why, and I've made this predominantly well known, that I'm voting for Donald Trump. And I'm voting for Donald Trump because I'm not ready to see it all burn yet. I'm not sure we can fix it without it all burning, but I still want to try. All right, top of the hour, and actually a little bit over at this point. This is the Rick Robinson Show. We will be live right here on KLRNradio.com. Be right back.
Let's go. Just one mistake is all it will take. We'll go down in history. Remember me for centuries.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
This is Derek's O'Reilly Auto Parts story.
After the third time jump-starting my car, I finally realized my battery was dying. So I stopped by O'Reilly to have it checked. They tested it right there in the parking lot. It was bad, real bad. But they helped me find the right battery for my car and even installed it for free. Now my car starts like new.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans, America's largest mortgage lender. Spring will be here soon, so if buying a new home is on your to-do list, right now is the time to call Quicken Loans. Learn about which mortgage options make sense for you and get a jump on your competition. With our exclusive Rate Shield approval, the low rate you lock today is protected for up to 90 days while you shop for your new home. With a Rate Shield approval, if rates go up, your low rate stays locked. But if rates go down, you get that new, even lower rate. Either way, you win. Talk to us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com to take advantage. Here's another great reason to work with us. For a record 9 years in a row, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. Again, to lock in today's low mortgage interest rate and get the security of our exclusive Rate Shield approval, call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
For JD Power award information, visit jdpower.com. Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year fixed-rate loans. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. License in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
Hi, welcome to the Subway ad for the new Sesame Ginger Glazed Chicken Signature Wrap. How would you like it?
I'll take a...
Sports announcer at home?
Yeah, how'd you...
We just know.
My wife picks up the new Signature Wrap. It's got double the rotisserie-style chicken mixed with a sesame ginger glaze. She appears annoyed at me, but she shrugs it off. Those sweet and savory flavors are calling her name. She lifts the wrap and she takes the bite! Incredible! And now she's closing the door on my... Subway, make it what you want.
Limited time only at participating restaurants. Double meat based on average 6-inch sub.
Today, this breakfast isn't just breakfast. It might be the first McDonald's breakfast you're having at McDonald's again. This lunch might be a weekly tradition you hadn't had in weeks. And this dinner might be the first one you bought for not just you in a while. Whatever this order is for you, McDonald's will be here to take it.
Get more of the chicken you love with a delicious McChicken sandwich for $1. And for an extra buck, add a refreshing Dr. Pepper. Dining rooms are starting to reopen in certain communities at participating McDonald's. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
The following program contains coarse language and adult themes. Listener discretion is advised.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
Okay, there. Oh, sorry, the board was not responding. Welcome back into the program, ladies and gentlemen. Hour 2 of the Wednesday edition of the Rick Robinson Show coming at you live right here on KLRNradio.com. Don't forget, as far as I know, Stacy and I will be back with a fresh episode of whatever here in just about 3 hours. So yeah, I work a lot on Wednesdays because I'm nuts. Anyway, then we'll be producing for the Conservative Curmudgeon Radio Show. The ladies of the Red Wine will be taking a night off, so I'm trying to figure out what we're going to do with that hour, whether it's a replay or something else. And then Ordy and I should be back for your nightcap, assuming he is not stuck in the free state of Nevada again, because he's been doing a lot of driving lately. So we shall see. But anyway, so something else that kind of caught my attention, which seems really, really weird to me. Scott Pressler put out a tweet a few days ago, and it didn't really register with me right away. That Scott Pressler, otherwise known as the Persistence on Twitter, or X or Jitter or whatever you're calling it these days. I will probably still forever call it Twitter unless I'm writing, because then I try to call it by its actual new name. I'm not dead naming, I'm just a creature of habit. Well, I guess I am dead naming, I don't really care. Anyway, but that being said, my problem with how bad things must have gotten is, I guess it's probably been about a week or so. He put out a post on X, Twitter, Jitter, whatever you want to call it these days, that he was registering the Amish to vote. And then I see a picture of a bunch of buggies. I don't know if it's been photoshopped or not. It may have been. I don't know. That were flying American flags and Trump flags. And all I can think is, if Biden has screwed up the country so badly that the Amish are now concerned with the affairs of what they still call the English, that should tell you exactly how bad everything has gotten. And during the break, I was having a conversation on Twitter, and I've said this before. X-Brad, who follows me, was commenting on one of the posts that I made. It was either today or yesterday about that Illinois judge's ruling, and he's like, "Look, an Obama appointed judge just confirmed that the Second Amendment right to bear arms is granted by God and not controlled by the government. So I'm okay with that." And my response, which is the same one I'm giving you now, is the same thing I said to him there. Prima facie, so am I. The issue that I have with that is it is now going to start being used as the cudgel to confirm every other enumerated right within the Bill of Rights onto illegal aliens. So being a citizen is not going to matter anymore. Now, is it going to happen tomorrow? No. Is it going to happen a week from now? Probably not. Is there time to course correct? Maybe. And again, I don't necessarily have an issue with somebody having the same constitutional God-given rights that you and I do. My issue is our Constitution outlines those rights as being given by God, and specifically says what our government is not allowed to take away from us, that being the right to peaceably assemble, the right to free speech, the right to worship as we please, the right to keep and bear arms. I could keep going, but I'm not going to, because it's a long list. But my whole point is, and it's not even just a Bill of Rights. I mean, if we start giving them Second Amendment protection, where does it end? Do they get 14th Amendment protection too? Does that mean that because the Constitution says that people should have the right to vote, that everybody has the right to vote? Are there not restrictions that we should put in place? I mean, this is the problem, ladies and gentlemen. We have so many people who are currently on the government dole who are voting to perpetuate and increase the amount of the government dole because it's in their interest to do so. Because they don't care about you or me. They don't care about how much of our money is going towards all of this. And I'm not talking about Social Security. I have a huge issue with Social Security, but that's completely different than what I'm talking about right now. Social Security is a Ponzi scheme. Social Security should be outlawed. Period. The government should get out of your paycheck. The government should start letting you figure out the best way for you to invest your money so that you have a stable retirement someday, should you decide to retire. Because this whole idea that we have to work from the moment we're born till the moment we die might be biblical according to Genesis, but it's not really how we're supposed to live our lives anymore. It's not. And the whole idea of working to make money is dumb. It's just dumb. I mean, how many of you listening to my voice right now have been stuck in the same job for years and hate getting up every day and hate going to work every day and cringe every time the alarm clock goes off, but there's something in your heart that you have always wanted to do, and if you only had the ability to do that, and be able to survive and thrive, then you would probably be a lot more happy than you are right now. This is the point of living in America. The right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Not the pursuit of a paycheck. Not the pursuit of $1 million house. If you want $1 million house and you're willing to bust your ass, we should probably up that now. $10 million house? If you want a $10 million house and you want to bust your ass to go get it, more power to you. If you want, as Andrew Tate talks about all the time, where's your Bugatti? I don't need one, dude. I don't. I have a 2021 Kia Soul. I'm still making payments on it. When I'm done making the payments on it, I'm going to drive it till the wheels fall off, and then I'm going to figure out how to get another one if I need to. Because I don't need status symbols. What I need is freedom. Financial freedom. The freedom of being secure. Not the illusion of security. The actual freedom of being secure. Of knowing that our government is looking out for me and you. And it's not anymore. And it hasn't been for a long time. I would say that much like what happened with Trump, Ronald Reagan shook up the paradigm. The GOP hated Ronald Reagan. He became the standard bearer after, despite what the left wants to tell you, pretty much everything that he tried to do actually working, and they didn't have the ability to unleash a virus on us at that time, or maybe they did. Has anybody looked into whether Anthony Fauci helped create the AIDS virus? Best indication of future behavior is past behavior, so at the same time, best indication of past behavior would be current behavior, and he's already basically helped engineer a virus that nearly brought down the world once that we know of. Do we know for sure if his fingerprints aren't all over HIV and AIDS? I'm just saying. I don't know that. I'm not accusing him of anything. I'm simply asking a question. But again, much like this story that we talked about with the USCP, doing something that would have had the rest of you and I in jail for the rest of our lives, and possibly, depending on jurisdiction, been facing the death penalty, got this guy a golden parachute, a medal, and a pension. Do you understand how broken everything actually is yet? It's a valid question. It's a painful one to ask, but I have to keep asking it. Do you understand how broken everything actually is yet? Because I would wager that most of us do not. All right. Wow, how many different stories on this have they done? Alright, so we got to talk about this one real quick. So, Snuffleupagus, otherwise known as George Stephanopoulos, kind of stepped in it not too long ago. Apparently, he decided to say on air that Trump was found liable of rape, which was a clearly defamatory statement. Former President Donald Trump is suing ABC News and network anchor George Stephanopoulos for defamation. Last week, Stephanopoulos claimed on ABC News This Week that Trump has been found liable of rape. Snuffleupagus repeated the assertion more than 10 times during an interview in which he tried to use the history of Rep. Nancy Mace, Republican South Carolina, as a rape victim to shame her for endorsing Trump. But Trump has never been found liable of rape. Last year, a New York civil jury found Trump liable of sexual abuse for allegedly assaulting E. Jean Carroll in the mid-1990s. Carroll cannot remember the exact year it happened. Importantly, the jury specifically found Trump not liable for rape. Now Trump is trying to hold ABC News and Snuffleupagus accountable for purposely and purportedly defaming him. Snuffleupagus statements were and remain false and were made by defendant Snuffleupagus with actual malice or with reckless disregard for the truth, given that defendant Snuffleupagus knows that these statements are patently and demonstrably false, argued a 20-page lawsuit filed in federal court Monday on behalf of Trump. The lawsuit argues that ABC News and Snuffleupagus committed defamation per se and defamation per quad. So for anybody who's wondering what that means, is basically in word in, I guess in writing. My Latin is rusty, so I think that's writing. I use Latin a lot. That's just not one of the phrases I use. Trump was accused on ABC News of engaging in rape, and that is, from our estimation, a clear defamatory statement that would meet the requirements for serving as a basis for defamation per se claim, explained attorney Alex Brito, who is representing Trump in the matter. ABC News has declined to comment on this matter. Gee, I wonder why. Trump has previously tried to litigate this very issue. Last year, Trump claimed that Carroll defamed him when she declared on CNN the day after a civil jury found Trump liable for sexual abuse that Trump had raped her. But a judge dismissed Trump's counterclaims because he found that Carroll's comments were substantially true. The civil jury's verdict, the judge ruled, establishes as against Mr. Trump the fact that Mr. Trump raped her, albeit digitally, rather than with his penis. What the hell does that even mean? I'm guessing he means fingers? Anyway. Thus, it establishes against him the substantial truth that Ms. Carroll's rape allegations were accurate. The ruling raised questions precisely because Trump has never been criminally convicted of rape, let alone charged with the crime, and because civil jury found Trump not liable for rape. Importantly, Trump maintains his innocence to this day. Sounds to me that they just gave him grounds for an appeal yet again. I'm just saying. And let's see. Alright, so scratch that. The ladies of the red wine are off. G is now officially off, so I will determine what we're doing this evening or not doing here shortly. Sorry, just letting everybody know. Chat Lives Matter night, maybe a night of replays. Reasons. Anyway, so yeah. So that's point one, which I kind of thought we really needed to talk about, because there's another interesting thing going on, and I don't remember if I saw it here or elsewhere. So that's one. Now here's another one. This is still on the Blaze. Joseph McKinnon, Dateline today. Fani Willis faces renewed prospect of disqualification after judge allows Trump to appeal ruling. Judge Scott, they keep saying McAfee. I'm McAfee. I'm sorry, that's just where I'm going with it. Decided last week against disqualifying Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis from former President Donald Trump's election interference case in Georgia. Dissatisfied with the result, even though it led to Willis' lover resigning his post as special prosecutor, attorney Steve Sadow filed a motion on Monday on behalf of Trump and several of his co-defendants, requesting that McAfee grant a certificate of immediate review of the order to the Georgia Court of Appeals. Agreeing that the defendant's motion to dismiss and disqualify the Democratic DA is of such importance to the case that immediate review should be had, McAfee granted the motion Wednesday. After multiple motions were filed on behalf of Trump and his co-defendants accusing Willis of misconduct, beginning with attorney Ashley Merchant's opening salvo on January 8th, Judge McAfee of the Fulton County Superior Court spent days hearing testimony concerning the Democratic DA's affair with Nathan Wade. Despite some indications that Willis and Wade may have misled the court about the timeline of their affair, McAfee, who was up for re-election, opted not to disqualify Willis. Instead, he required either the Democrat or her lover to step away from the case. Wade resigned hours after McAfee issued his March 15th ruling. The judge did, however, note that when confronted with the details of her affair with Wade, as alleged by the defendants, a prima facie argument arises of financial enrichment. Prima facie means on its face, by the way, so basically just kind of out there for everybody to see, basically. And an improper motivation which inevitably and surprisingly invites emotion such as this. Blaze News previously reported that McAfee also dragged Willis for the unprofessional manner of her testimony during the evidentiary hearing, her bad choices, her tremendous lapses in judgment, her legal improper remarks at an Atlanta area church in January. The push for appeal. Sato, lead counsel for Trump, filed a joint motion Monday requesting that the Fulton County Superior Court grant a certificate of immediate review of its order stating that McAfee's disqualification ruling is of exceptionally great importance to this case, substantially impacting the defendant's rights to due process. Sato highlighted McAfee's stated sense that Willis' conduct had created an appearance of impropriety and an odor of mendacity that lingers in this case, as well as the continuing possibility that an outsider could reasonably think that District Attorney Willis is not exercising her independent professional judgment totally free of any compromising influences. The Trump attorney further suggested that the Georgia appellate courts would likely also recognize Willis' January 14th speech with McAfee, which was recognized as legally improper, as a contributing instance of forensic misconduct requiring the Democrats' disqualification. So here we go. We're currently off to the races. McAfee agreed Wednesday that the order on the defendant's motion to dismiss and disqualify the Fulton County District Attorney issued March 15, 2024, is of such importance to the case that immediate review should be had. The judge wrote that his challenged order is not one of final judgment, and that the state has informed the court that it has complied with the order's demands. Thus, unless directed otherwise by an appellate court, supersedeas shall only apply to the order being appealed. Accordingly, it is now up to the Georgia Court of Appeals to decide whether or not to take up the matters of Willis' disqualification. McAfee signaled that he will proceed with unrelated pretrial matters in the meantime. Sato mocked those who suggested it would not be possible, writing so much for the so-called expert naysayers who said Judge McAfee would not grant the certificate. You know who you are. So the others would similarly know who he was referring to. Sato shared an image of a post from Georgia State Assistant Law Professor Anthony Michael Kreis, who wrote, "I am increasingly skeptical that Judge McAfee will grant the certificate of immediate review. He essentially applied the defendant's preferred standard for disqualification and crafted a cure that the DA took within hours. I think there is reason to believe he's ready to move on." Sato suggested Christ might need a new crystal ball or Ouija board. Alright, so this is turning into a shit show, so we're not going to keep reading it. But I do have one other thing that I want to talk about as we get ready to take the bottom of the hour break for the final hour. Fannie Willis recently said publicly that she felt she was being led by Jesus Christ himself to prosecute Donald Trump. I got nothing on that. Absolutely nothing. Alright, so one more quick hit as we get ready to go to break. Just to show you how far everything has fallen in this country, I have something I want you to listen to. Then I'm going to tell you exactly where it came from and how long it's been around. I need you to hear something.
Scrooge, why don't they just print up a few billion or so?
A few billion? Oh, dear, no. My, that word billion, how it's abused. If it weren't so frightening, I'd be amused. Folks have no conception. We'd have inflation.
Inflation?
Ah, that's a mess. your money would be worth less and less. It might take this hatful, I dare say, to buy what your piggy bank would buy today. $1 wouldn't be worth the paper it's printed on. Ooh. But that's not today. Oh, Hootman, my. It's what you can buy with what you've got. That's what counts.
Scrooge, what?
All right, so that is from an episode of, well, actually, it's a Disney cartoon with Huey and the nephews, who unfortunately, Huey, Louie, and Dewey, I think were their names. It's been a while since I watched the show. But it's Uncle Scrooge in 1967 explaining why the government printing money willy-nilly was a bad idea. Funny thing is, it was just a few short years later that the government made it possible for money to be printed willy-nilly. It's almost like they were trying to tell us something and we just didn't want to listen. It's almost like they were trying to tell us something and we just didn't want to listen. I'm just saying. So hang on. Let's see, what are we going to talk about when we come back? Because we are just about to break. Oh, good Lord. All of this is still going on today? Alright, so let's see if we have time to get to one more story. I thought I had the audio for that. I don't see it now, though. Hang on. I'm looking for something. I promise I am. Alright, let's go ahead and take the break so you guys don't have to watch me or listen to me trying to find something here. Alright, you are listening to the America Off the Rails show. I am your host, Rick Robinson. We are going to... No, you're not. America Off the Rails is Sundays, Rick. This is the Rick Robinson show. So, we're going to be right back. Hopefully by the time I come back, I'll have had my own facts straight again. So, you know. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
I'm gonna rock you. What you gonna do? I'm gonna rock you. I'll have you begging for mercy, begging for mercy. Oh.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
O'Reilly. This is Derek's O'Reilly Auto Parts story.
After the third time jump-starting my car, I finally realized my battery was dying. So I stopped by O'Reilly to have it checked. They tested it right there in the parking lot. It was bad, real bad. But they helped me find the right battery for my car and even installed it for free. Now my car starts like new.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans, America's largest mortgage lender. Spring will be here soon, so if buying a new home is on your to-do list, right now is the time to call Quicken Loans. Learn about which mortgage options make sense for you and get a jump on your competition. With our exclusive Rate Shield approval, the low rate you lock today is protected for up to 90 days while you shop for your new home. With a Rate Shield approval, if rates go up, your low rate stays locked. But if rates go down, you get that new, even lower rate. Either way, you win. Talk to us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com to take advantage. Here's another great reason to work with us. For a record 9 years in a row, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. Again, to lock in today's low mortgage interest rate and get the security of our exclusive Rate Shield approval, call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
For JD Power award information, visit jdpower.com. Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year fixed-rate loans. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. License in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
Hi, welcome to this Subway ad for the new Sesame Ginger Glazed Chicken Signature Wrap. How would you like it?
I'll take a...
Sports announcer at home?
Yeah, how'd you...
We just know.
My wife picks up the new Signature Wrap. It's got double the rotisserie-style chicken mixed with a sesame ginger glaze. She appears annoyed at me, but she shrugs it off. Those sweet and savory flavors are calling her name. She lifts the wrap and she takes the bite! Incredible! And now she's closing the door on my... Subway, make it what you want.
Limited time only at participating restaurants. Double meat basement, average 6-inch sub.
Today, this breakfast isn't just breakfast. It might be the first McDonald's breakfast you're having at McDonald's again. This lunch might be a weekly tradition you hadn't had in weeks. And this dinner might be the first one you bought for not just you in a while. Whatever this order is for you, McDonald's will be here to take it.
Get more of the chicken you love with a delicious McChicken sandwich for $1. And for an extra buck, add a refreshing Dr. Pepper. Dining rooms are starting to reopen in certain communities at participating McDonald's. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
The following program contains coarse language and adult themes. Listener discretion is advised.
I'm bringing fire to the final call. There's nothing you can do, cause I want it all. Legendary every day, I'm invincible. I came to play, you feel the heat. Now it's time to turn me loose.
And welcome back into the program, ladies and gentlemen. Again, I am Rick Robinson. This is the final segment of the Rick Robinson Show, the Wednesday edition, otherwise known as Chat Lives Matter Day, right here live on KLRradio.com. Team No Pants, shout it out to the rooftops. Funny thing is, I saw somebody downing somebody for posting the fact that apparently it's coming back into style for men in jackets and ties and stuff to wear not casual shorts, but like slack shorts. If you as an adult can't wear pants, I refuse to take you seriously. As the unofficial spokesperson for Team No Pants, suck it! Dude, I would wear that all day long. As a matter of fact, when I have it, next time I go and cover a convention somewhere, I will probably be wearing something similar now that I know it's becoming okay again. Because I hate dress pants. I hate pants in general. The only pants I wear sometimes, and it's only when my legs get cold, are pajama pants. Because, yeah, pants suck. Pants suck. Alright, so I told you guys I was going to break so I could find some audio. I didn't find the audio that I wanted, and I'm going to keep looking for it. But for those of you who may be aware, the impeachment hearing of Joe Biden is still underway. This is kind of some hot stuff going on. So, Mr. Bobolinsky apparently took Jamie Raskin down. Here's some. Well, it's video for me, audio for you. We'll probably be changing that soon, though.
Yet the same people preaching this mantra know better. They continue to lie directly to the American people without hesitation and remorse. Rep. Dan Goldman and Jamie Raskin, both lawyers, and Mr. Goldman, a former prosecutor with the SDNY from New York, will continue to lie today in this hearing and then go straight to the media to tell more lies. Hunter Biden's defense attorney, Abby Lowell, weaponizes letters to Congress to try to smear my name and misstate the cold hard facts.
Mr. Chairman.
In an attempt to save his powerfully connected client and his father. I challenge Mr. Lowell to make those claims on national television so he can be held accountable for his lies. Prior to my successful business career, I was an officer in the United States Navy. At Navy's elite Naval Nuclear Power Training Command, I later served as the command's chief technology officer.
Proceed. I apologize for the disruption from the...
Okay. Am I supposed to say it's my time, Mr. Raskin?
Yeah. But please, Mr. Bobolinsky, please.
Okay.
Come to order. Mr. Bobolitsky, please proceed.
Okay.
Please proceed. I apologize for the disruption from the minority.
Okay.
Well, Mr. Chairman, save his time, but he called members of this committee liars, and I just want to know whether the order and decorum requirements of House Rule 11 apply to witnesses appearing before the committee. Does it apply or does it not?
Should I address? I don't.
There's decorum from the members. We've asked for that. There's no language that I'm aware of pertaining to a witness.
Thank you.
So don't make sure we didn't waste any of his time on the opening statement. Mr. Bobolitsky, I'm sorry for the disruption. Please continue your opening statement.
I think Mr. Raskin used.
We'll make sure it's right. We'll make sure.
Okay, great. I just want to restate, make sure the American people hear all these facts. Abby Lowell.
All right, so I think I found the other audio that I wanted to play today too. I think. Bear with me for at least as far as this goes. Hang on just a second. All right, so this is AOC in the same hearing.
Is it your testimony today that you personally witnessed President Joe Biden commit a crime?
I believe the fact that he was sitting with me while I was putting together a business
Did you
deal,
witness the president commit a crime? Is it your testimony today?
Yes.
And what crime have you witnessed?
How much time do I have to go through it?
It is simple. You name the crime. Did you watch him steal something?
Corruption statutes, RICO and conspiracy.
What is it? What is the crime, sir?
RICO is a crime.
You asked me to answer the question. I answered the question.
No.
RICO, you're obviously not familiar with. Corruption
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir. RICO is not a crime. It is a category. What is the
RICO is a crime, you breadstick.
You have charges.
A long 100.
You have charges. Sir, please
want me to name the exact statute under RICO?
Yes.
Well, it's funny. In this committee room, everyone's not here. There's over 8
All right, sir. I reclaim my
lawyers that went to law school.
I
reclaim my time because you're not giving me the answer that I want. RICO is a crime, you stale breadstick of a person. I am so you want to know why we should keep talking about all this stuff? You want to know why I'm not letting this go? You want to know why I have talked about this over and over and over again? Because I'm hang on. Sorry, I should have gotten this ready on the break because this is where I wanted to go with it. All right, so I just wanna play this if I can find the right one. There's so many of them that look the same. I'm not sure I have the right one anymore. Where is it? Hang on. I think it's being stupid because I have my caps lock came on. Hang on. Anyway, I can't seem to find it. Anyway, I've played it over and over and over again. There is a video clip of Joe Biden admitting in a closed doors I believe it was a fundraising session, that while vice president, he went to Ukraine and basically said, hey, you know that money that is earmarked for you guys? Unless this prosecutor is fired immediately, you're not getting that money. And then he looks at his watch in the video, says, I think I was going to be there for about 6 more hours. And wouldn't you know it, before that 6th hour, before we were off the ground, all of a sudden that son of a bitch was fired. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a quid pro quo. That, ladies and gentlemen, is exactly... Hang on, let me see what this is.
Root is car insurance made easy. Customize your coverage with a few simple taps.
I'm not playing your commercials. I don't get paid for those. Anyway, so we're going to let this ad keep playing. Actually, the skip button just popped up, so hang on. Why is it not playing the audio, though?
I just want to put one other issue on the floor before I get another question or two, which is Ukraine. This administration, unlike the administration you worked in, decided to provide limited defense articles to Ukraine. Do you think that was a wise decision? And more broadly, do you see any scope for any sort of a deal on eastern Ukraine?
The answer is yes, I think it was a wise decision. But then again, I was pushing that for 2 years before we left. And the reason is, I think the more you up the ante, the cost to Russia for their aggression. I mean, as you all know, and you know this better than anybody, the one big lie going on about Ukraine back in the rest of Russia is that no Russian soldiers are engaged, they're not dying, no body bags are coming home, etc., because there's overwhelming opposition on the part of the body politic in Russia for engagement in Ukraine in a military sense. Do I think I think the Donbass has potential to be able to be solved, but it takes 2 things. One of those things is missing now, and that is I'm desperately concerned about the backsliding on the part of Kyiv in terms of corruption. They made, I'll give you one concrete example. I was, not but it just happened to be that was the assignment I got. I got all the good ones. So I got Ukraine. And I remember going over convincing our team, or others too, convincing us that we should be providing for loan guarantees. And I went over for, I guess, the 12th, 13th time to Kyiv, and I was supposed to announce that there was another $1 billion loan guarantee. And I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk that they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. So they said they were walking out to press conference. I said, no, I'm not going to, we're not going to give you the $1 billion. They said,
now remember, this was already approved by Congress.
I said, call him. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting the $1 billion. I said, you're not getting the $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, 6 hours? I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Well, son of a bitch. You got fired. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Well, son of a bitch. You got fired. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Well, son of a bitch. You got fired. Well, son of a bitch. Well, son of a bitch.
All right, so I didn't do the editing there, but they did an awesome job. That is actually from an account called NNN Media on YouTube. If you like what they did there, you may want to go check out the rest of their channel. But my point here is that, ladies and gentlemen, is the most blatant example of a quid pro quo on recorded video that I have ever seen in my life. And there's a part of this that I didn't even know, because I'd only heard the part where he talks about having the prosecutor fired. I didn't realize that he says he had already secured a commitment to have that prosecutor removed, and it somehow, I guess, tied that to the funding. And since they hadn't done that, they weren't getting the money. Why was he so keen on having that prosecutor removed? If memory serves, and it usually does, that was the prosecutor that was supposed to be looking into the company that his son had gone to work for in Ukraine, with zero experience in that field. So we need to go back to the statements from Bob Alinsky, who said repeatedly that it was obvious to him that Joe Biden was the commodity the family was trading in. Access to his name, access to his ear were what they were trading in. So how many times did Hunter Biden use his dad's name to open doors that you and I would never have access to? And how many times did Joe Biden sweep in to clean up the mess to try to make sure that none of this blew back on the rest of the family? And before you answer that question, I need you to understand that everything that we are starting to see about the entirety of D.C., from its law enforcement to a lot of the people in Congress, to the congressional staffers, to the Senate staffers, to a lot of the people in the Senate itself, are all crooked and corrupt. This is one of the reasons why, with modern technology being what it is today, that I have called repeatedly for D.C. to be disbanded. We do not have to have senators and Congress critters in D.C. year-round. We don't anymore. Technology makes it possible for them to do their jobs from their home districts. So they have to look the people in the face that they are turning their backs on every single day. And this is the truth of it. If these people had to actually face the consequences of their actions other than a couple of weeks out of the year, then they would stop making some of these decisions. Because if you think the left is the only one that has the market cornered on protesting, you aren't paying attention. The problem is we ain't mad enough yet. And as my friend Orty Packard and co-host likes to say all the time, for the left, violence is a dial. For the right, it's a switch. We are getting dangerously close to that switch being flipped. And I'm not calling for that before anybody tries to have this reported for hate speech. That's what I'm trying to stop. We now have people. Now have the extreme left, and I don't even know what to call them, because they're not really the extreme right. MAGA has kind of become the extreme right, and I admit that. MAGA scares me to a point. Not what it means, but the people that control it. Because the same people that are telling us that we have to fight communism and destroy communism, because communism is looking for the lowest common denominator people that they can elevate to positions of power so that they would swear fealty because they can't survive without that movement, is implementing some of the same policies within now the RNC and the GOP in general, and trying to do the very same thing. Laura Loomer comes to mind. And I realize that I am probably poison pilling my own career by speaking out against both sides. I don't care. I'm never going to get big sponsorship deals. I understand that. I'm never going to get the ear of President Trump. I'm never going to get the ears of folks like Posobiec and everybody else who could propel me to starhood if that's what I really wanted. That's not what I want. I want to be able to tell you the truth, live my life, be left alone, pay my bills, and go about my life. That's what I want to do. I would much rather be a tiny fish in a huge pond reaching a few people who help me make sure that I can keep reaching people than ever be a well-known conservative media pundit, because once you cross a particular threshold, things start going sideways. Even one of my heroes, Rush Limbaugh, faced similar situations where at one point, because he was trying to do all the things and started chasing all of the sponsorships and all of the this and all of that, because it wasn't just enough for him to survive or to even thrive. He had to corner the market. I don't want to be that guy, because that eventually got him hooked on painkillers. And then once he didn't have to use the painkillers anymore for the pain, he realized that he got an energy boost from the painkillers. Do you know how many people I talk to on a daily basis who do the same thing? They're like, oh, they make me feel so much better when I take them because I get an energy boost from them. You need to put them down because you're not taking them for the right reasons. And again, I don't ever expect to be famous. I don't ever expect to be a multimillionaire. I just want to be able to make a comfortable living doing what I love and chasing my dreams and being left the hell alone for the most part. Our government's never going to do that. And if the right starts becoming exactly what it once fought against to try to wrest control from something that it now deems a clear and present danger, then eventually it will also become a clear and present danger. This is why we have to thread the needle carefully. This is also why I tell you we cannot just stand against communism anymore. We can't just tell people how bad communism is. We have to start showing them how bad communism is. We have to show them why it doesn't work. This starts with you, at home. Teach your children about the Stalinist revolution and what actually happened. Teach your children about the Bolsheviks. Show them why these things don't work. Show them the videos of the toilet paper lines back in the day and the bread lines back in the day, so they can see how dangerously close we are to that now in this country. A story came out today, and I talked about this in the beginning of the program, that absolutely broke my heart, and that was that America was no longer among the top 20 hate-based places to be in the world. And you know why that is? It's because we've taught an entire generation, possibly two, to hate this country. That there's nothing special about this country. That you being here was happenstance. Nothing but luck. Nothing could be further from the truth if you have faith, but they have removed faith from the equation. So everything from the creation of from the beginning of the universe, because they don't like to use the word creation, to now was all happenstance and luck. But that is not true. If you are here for a reason. If you are a citizen, you are a citizen for a reason. And if you're here illegally, you're also here for a reason. But that's my problem, is we don't know what those reasons are. Look, I've said it all through the program. Does it worry me that Second Amendment rights have been conferred to illegal immigrants? Yes, because that means the rest of the Bill of Rights and the rest of the articles outlined in the Constitution, that will be the wedge to start giving them all of those rights. Just like the Fifth Amendment protections were the wedge that eventually started leading to this. And I've said this over and over and over again. We gave them an inch, the left took a mile. Because that's what they always do. But as we have started trying to be the kinder, more compassionate people that we always feel like we need to be, we have started doing so to our own peril. There is now, and I said this at the beginning of the show, there is now a video going around TikTok explaining to illegal immigrants how they can take over houses that are not being lived in, and that legally it's nearly impossible to get them removed once they do. Doesn't even matter if it's a family gone on a 2-week vacation. If they come home and somebody's living in their house, legally they have to let them stay there. They can call the cops and start the process, but all the cops are going to do is take a report and tell them, in most of the liberal cities, that they have to start an eviction process, which is so stupid. We are being replaced, and that is not a white supremacist thing to say. That is just the truth, because they don't need us anymore. They don't want us anymore. They want to bring people in who will be grateful for the breadcrumbs and grateful for the crust of bread. Do you not see it yet? Is there any other possibility that I could show you that would make this make sense? How much corruption have we been talking about in this country since 1913? We have been under communist invasion through backdoor means since 1913 because people saw it as a means to power. We're serfs. I know nobody likes it when I say that, but we're serfs. When are we going to take our power back? We have ceded so much of our power to the federal government because we believed the federal government had our best interest at heart. And we now know that they don't. Because it is now a behemoth that will do everything that it can to stay alive. And the bigger it gets, the harder it's going to be to kill. And the bigger it gets, the harder it's going to be to rein in. And it's already to the point now where it is absorbing your money, my money, and everybody else's money. And everything's become this redistribution scheme because people that have no say or should have no say in how this country conducts business have the right to vote. And they keep voting for the same people who keep saying, vote for me and I'll put something else in that hand that you're shoving in my face. Instead of vote for me and we can start working out how you can take care of yourself and not be dependent upon the government. You guys just don't get it, and I don't know how to make you understand it, but I'm going to keep trying. First, they came after ownership of houses. Then they came after the rental companies who own houses. Do you not understand that that's part of the reason why they're making it so hard for these evictions to happen in liberal cities? They're making it so hard for these people that shouldn't even be legally in the home to be removed from the home? Where does that even make sense? Where does it make sense that for the survival of a nation, we have to give illegal aliens the same rights that you and I have access to? Or recognize them. I'm not even saying they don't have them, but what I'm saying is, why should our government have to recognize them? They're not citizens here. Do they have the same rights as you and me? Yes, because God gave them to them. But our government has no duty to recognize those rights. Because they are breaking the law. If illegal immigrants have two-way status, then so should every felon. When illegal immigrants are given the right to vote, and that's coming next, then every felon should also have the right to vote. The problem with that is you are also piling on to the destruction of our country when you start doing those things. Because people that make bad life choices and bad decisions repeatedly will have the ability to steer this country. Am I making sense? I don't even know if I am at this point. I just know that I'm watching our country spiral out of control. I'm watching it die the death of 1,000 cuts between wokeism, between transgenderism. Do you realize that the transgender lobby has more rights in this country than even illegals? Think about it. Nobody's allowed to say anything negative to them, or they get canceled. Government records have to be modified because they decide that they no longer identify with the gender that they were born with. This is how bad everything's gotten. And this is why it's so hard for me to do this on a daily basis, because I feel like I'm the only one seeing it. Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. Alright, well, at this point, unfortunately, I do have to tell you that this particular show is over.
What? Over? Did you say over? Nothing is over until we decide it is. Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor? Hell no!
Closing time. Open all the doors and let you out into the world.
This isn't over until I say it's over!
Closing time.
Well, that's great. That's just fucking great, man. Now what the fuck are we supposed to do? Game over, man. It's game over.
Closing time. Time for you to go out to the places you will be from. Closing time. This room won't be open till your brothers or your sisters come.
I love you, Oklahoma. What a great crowd. I love you.